Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this December overview of the College Station Master's programs. I am joining just myself today. I don't have Matt Upton with Career Services, but we will cover a lot of information. We're going to use the hour, but if it's a little shorter than that, I will unmute and we'll stop recording and answer questions from you guys to get it started. So just so you have a little picture of myself, there it is, Catherine Meyer. I'm Director of Graduate Admissions and Recruitment here at the Bush School. I've been here for about 21 years now. Have watched this program grow a lot, have a lot of background information, and then also I share this lengthy employment along with Matt Upton, who's in Career Services. So I'll provide some of his information at the end. So if you do have career questions, you can reach out to him directly. The agenda today is going to cover our location and where we are, where we also have extended out into Washington, D.C. We're going to talk about the graduate academics, the admissions, funding, the professional development, where our students go for employment, and then we'll answer some questions from you. So keep in mind, you can jot anything down into those chats if you are ready. So what is the Bush School of Government and Public Service? So we started as a graduate-only program, and we received an ability to start this school when we received George H.W. Bush's library and museum here on our campus at Texas A&M. So we started a school in his honor. It was just master's degrees programs only to start with. We extended out to graduate certificates, and within the last 2 years, we've now extended to undergraduate programs. And I'll show you what those are. So we're a lot larger than it is when we started. We opened in 1997, and we now have about 2,800 master's alumni that are really heavily involved with our school and help us with making those connections and alumni networks. Right now, we've got master's degrees, 5 here in College Station, 2 in Washington, D.C., and 1 that's completely online. And it's an executive level master public service. And then we also have 6 graduate certificates, and those are combined both online and on campus, depending on how students need to be taught. We're preparing students for very set kinds of careers. A lot of them are heading into nonprofits or international NGOs. Even larger amount are going into federal, state, local government. So whatever pathway feels right for the students, we can help them get there. Sometimes it's specifically with agencies. In education, environment, health, security. It could be policy areas. It could just be working with analysis and providing information for security interest. It could be working for government contractors or private industry. There's just so many think tanks, all these kinds of options. And sometimes the students don't even know what they want until they get here. They may think they have a pathway, but it can change. There's constantly you're receiving information from employer talks and talking to your colleagues and the faculty, and your career ideas will shift while you're here many times. So keep in mind, this is a very general statement here on what kind of careers, but I'll cover some specific areas for that at the end of this webinar. So our locations, when we talk about the Bush School, we're talking about the one in College Station, Texas. That's our heart and soul. It's here at Texas A&M University. You can see from the star on the map, we are located centrally in Texas. So we're about equidistant from Austin and Houston, about an hour and a half away. And both Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio are about 3 hours away. So that really helps our students in being able to network in these major metropolitan areas here in Texas. But keep in mind, a lot of students are coming in from out of state. So while many change their mind and decide they do want to stay here in Texas after graduation, some will return back to their home states or head straight to Washington, D.C., which is where they see themselves going, or working for different departments that may be stationed abroad. We did open a few years ago a branch campus in Washington, D.C., and you can see from the map, we are really close to the White House, just 2 blocks from there, really close to the metro stations. And this was geared towards working professionals. So the intent of this is those that found themselves in Washington, D.C. and found jobs and are working and then decided they wanted to go back to school, there was an option that was closer without having to pick up and move and come to College Station. So again, these are evening classes. It's a little smaller, not as well developed as the one in College Station, but it's getting there. It'll take some time. It took us 21 years so far, 25 years. to get where we are, and so they'll grow over time. Here in College Station, we are in a kind of a complex area. So you can see these three buildings on this picture. Texas A&M main campus is back behind us. So there's a bus that you can get you onto main campus. And if you're deciding to take classes outside of the Bush School, you may be heading over to urban planning or nuclear engineering or public health, and you'll be going to other parts of campus. But by and large, most are taking classes within the Allen building, which is that third building in the back side of these three that are listed. So on the left is the Presidential Conference Center and the Bush Foundation, where we have a lot of guest speakers, sometimes conferences here. The Allen building is home to where all of our classes are being held, in the faculty offices, student areas for them to hang out, do homework. And then you've got to the right, the George H.W. Bush Presidential Library and Museum, which occasionally we do have some events in there too. But it's a really nice complex. There's parking available here. Very professional demeanor here, a little set off from the rest of Texas A&M, and we love that. You get as much of the other part of A&M as you want. So as far as the community, Brazos Valley consists of Bryan, College Station. These are sister cities sitting right next to each other. And people sometimes go, how big is that? It's about a little over 200,000 people here. So we're consistently ranked high in economic and social categories. It's a great place to grow up, quality of life. A lot of retirees that graduated from Texas A&M come back here, want to attend all the sporting events, get involved with some of the activities that Texas A&M puts on. So College Station itself is ranked in one of the top 50 best places to live in the U.S. It's a wonderful environment here. Texas A&M University itself is one of the largest campuses in the nation. We've got over 74,000 students here. Just our incoming freshman class was 11,000 students last year. Now, if we focus just on the graduate students, those who are coming to Texas A&M for their master's and PhD, that's over 15,000 students. The Bush School, we're the smallest school. We have about 400 students. That's first years and second years. And we're talking about the graduate students, right, in our master's programs. So we're very small, very niche. But it's great to be able to tag into that larger research university and their reputation and their contacts when we want it. Now, specifically for the Bush School, we are ranked with the public service side of the house. International Affairs doesn't have the rankings like that. So while we are an APSEA member school, which puts us probably in the top 40 schools in the nation, there's no ranking to tie that to. The U.S. News and World Report for the best public affairs programs has us as number 28. And then we also have individually rankings under that. Homeland Security is our strongest. And then we've also got public management, nonprofit, public policy. So lots of great areas here that we'll talk about in our tracks and concentration. They just may not be in the rankings categories. So to get a big picture of what does the Bush School now consist of, we have 2 bachelor's degrees. That's the political science department here at Texas A&M moved under with us, and we now have international affairs. And then for the master's degrees, I'm primarily focused on those top 2, the public service administration and international affairs. International affairs just expanded to include some 3-year degrees. We combine with public health and with economics, where students start with those other departments and then come to us after about a year or a year and a half, and then wrap it up and finish with their capstones and their career services internship requirements. We also have what is called an executive kind of level program. It's an international policy. It's a 1-year degree for those that have enough experience. That is offered both in Texas and in Washington, D.C. To expand from that into DC, we went ahead and renamed kind of what our Master of International Affairs was. It is now a National Security and Intelligence degree, specifically in Washington, DC. Again, evening classes for that. It's an Executive Master of Public Service and Administration, also is housed here in College Station, but it's an online program. So people can complete that degree completely online, with the exception they do have to come to College Station and complete a couple of residencies over the summer. I think they've expanded out even more. So you do get to come in and meet your cohorts and be here for a week, 2 different times of the year. And then finally, the PhD degree only right now is offered in the political science, and they sponsor somewhere between 35 and 40 students a year in their emphasis areas. But I really don't have any information on that PhD degree. I'm focused mainly on these master's programs we talked about. And then academic overview with the graduate certificates. There are 5 of them listed here, actually 6 listed here. We've included the geospatial intelligence. But these are standalone certificates, or students can do these courses while they're in the master's program and earn a certificate, and it takes 4 to 5 classes to earn that specialty. So I'll kind of cover that in just a minute, what that looks like. So let's go with the Master Public Service Administration. This is one of our flagship programs. It's what started everything here at the Bush School. It is a 2-year degree, 48 credit hours. That means students are doing 12 hours fall, 12 hours spring, summer internship, 12 fall, 12 spring. That's how they get out on time in those 2 years. It does have a required internship unless someone comes in with professional experience beforehand, and they can waive that. And students are culminating all their work that they've done in a 1-year capstone. And I'll explain more about what that looks like, but you are working with a client in a group project and presenting that back out to that client. We also have a couple of PhD lead-into degrees. So someone can start the Master of Public Service and then decide, you know what, I really enjoy the research with education. I want to do a PhD program. And they can apply for that, and it just leads into that 7-year program. We also have now one with public health. You can transfer up to 12 credit hours from a Bush School graduate certificate if you happen to do one of those ahead of time. So keep in mind, there are ways to help diversify your degree as you want. And one of those elements is sometimes people will ask us about taking classes online. Can you do that? Primarily, our students here in College Station, we are taking classes in person in the classroom. Yes, there's a little bit of flexibility to take some online classes because we do have the Executive Master of Public Service that's offered that way, and we have some certificate courses. Just realize there is a limit. Less than half of those courses have to be done in online. So you're limited in that. And those online classes are going to cost you $1,500 more to do them. So it does take away some of that versatility that people want to see. But most of our students are here full-time taking classes. There's a few part-time, but they're here and getting in, getting out, learning all they can, and they want the time to be able to get involved, attend special events, attend group projects and meetings. They're not trying to run to class, go back to work, try to figure out when to do homework, take care of their family. We're not really set up that way. That becomes more of an executive online program. So for the Master Public Service, we've got 3 tracks: public management, public policy analysis, and nonprofit. And then from there, those concentrations are optional. They're elective. You don't have to choose an area of emphasis, but a lot of times our students do. You also, if you don't see an area that's of interest to you, maybe national defense and homeland security does appeal to you, but instead you want to design it in your own way and name it something else, you can do that. Sometimes people in the MPSA are even picking up an MIA concentration, which will be next. So there's lots of flexibility in this because we want you to create the interest and concentration and skill sets that are going to help you in your career path. So we leave that open for you to take courses elsewhere at Texas A&M in order to construct those. So you'll work with your faculty advisor in putting together your degree plan that makes sense for you. Now, the Master of International Affairs, also a 2-year, 48 credit hour. Here, for those 16 classes to earn, you've got 11 electives. So same idea, it has a lot of flexibility and freedom to put together some classes. Only in this case, most of them are sticking more with what we've already created for the concentrations because it already fits their area. That's why they picked to come here. So it does require an additional piece that the MPSA did not have. Because it's an international affairs program, they want our students to have a foreign language. So you need to be keeping up with what you have. You're not taking courses in language. You're doing this on the side. So if someone comes in having taken French, then they can take their test in French, or they may want to go back to something they did in high school, which is Spanish. We leave that up to you. You choose the language. It has to be a spoken one. And then sometimes you might be working on something like Russian, which is really difficult, but you can still take your test in another language. And you can come back and we'll pay for a second test if you're ready for that harder language. So we're here to help you. We'll give you Rosetta Stone access. We'll give you some language group practice. You can do that, but you have to pass that foreign language test in order to graduate, or you'll get an empty tube at graduation. You are also required for an internship, or you have the choice of doing a language immersion between the first and second year. So sometimes people haven't been able to work on their language like they thought they could. They're not ready for the test, and they may choose to then maybe spend those 2 to 3 months in a foreign country working on that. Sometimes you can even combine the two and do a shorter internship with a language immersion and get the best of both worlds. But you would just coordinate with student and career services for that. You also have a capstone working for a client, only now for the MIA, it is a semester long, not year long. We do have those 3-year combined degrees with public health and with economics. I'll cover those in a minute. And again, you can transfer up to 12 credit hours from a certificate. So someone who may have already done a certificate, you can also use those courses to count towards the international affairs, which could speed the program up. So we do occasionally have some December graduates instead of May. Here, their tracks are either in national security and diplomacy or international development and economic policy. So you will need to choose the track that you're going under, and then you have to choose at least 2 concentrations. Now, some of these concentrations, they're labeled. They either fit under NSD, national security, or they fit under IDEP, which is called international development and economic policy. One of your areas of concentration has to be in your track. So things like national security and diplomacy, you may be picking American diplomacy or cyber or grand strategy or intelligence. Your second concentration can be any of them. So you're never locked out of the other track. If you're a national security and diplomacy person, you can take an IDEP concentration, like foreign economic policy. None of it's out of your reach. So students sometimes will stress over which track to choose. I will tell you the NSD is the more popular one. It probably enrolls about 80% of our students, but it takes the right kind of student who wants to do that development and economic policy. And that's a special calling. It's hard work in hard places, but we love to have those students here. We love to have more of them. But we also have something independent of that, and those are the regional studies. And we focus on China, Indo-Pacific, Europe, Latin America, and the Middle East. So lots of variety here to help you go. Those combined degrees, just letting you know, if you do like public health with economics and you want to make a combined degree, you have to apply to both of those departments for admission. You may be admitted to one and not the other, and they'll just admit you and the other one doesn't, and that all works. We provide scholarships, which I'll talk about later, but it only applies when you're in our section of that. So just keep that in mind. So these are both 3-year, 78 credit total credit hours for the 2 degrees. And in each case, you start with the other programs first and then come back to us. There's more information on the website should you be interested in that. And then just a brief statement, this Master of International Policy, this is the 1-year degree. It is a hard requirement that you have to have 4 years of professional international experience. It was created primarily for the military. Sometimes we get retirees, somebody who's already done something in their life that they're coming back, or maybe a mid-career who wants to switch gears. But it's different in that it's only 30 credit hours. You can get done in that 1 year. We do run rolling admissions for it. So it runs fall, spring, and summer entry. The other flagship programs only start in the fall. You can take up to 2 online courses, but again, you pay that extra fee. But there's no internship requirement because these guys already have experience. There's no capstone for it, and there is no foreign language exam required. So it's a little expedited to get students in and out back into the workforce for where they're trying to go. And keep in mind that there is no funding available for this. So federal aid and military benefits, we can apply those. Just keep in mind that Bush School does not provide any scholarship for it. It's just help to get in and out, but you'll pay whatever the cost you see. The DC campus, Those are evening courses for working professionals. And that's the case for MIP and for the NSI there. But here in College Station, you've got to be free during the day because that's when classes are being offered. So tracks, both of them are offered here at College Station because you're following kind of the MIA game plan. But in DC, they only offer the national security and diplomacy. They don't have the IDEP emphasis there. So again, here in Texas, you're going to choose from the MIA concentrations that we just covered. If you're in DC, you're choosing from the NSD track, which is just a lot fewer courses to choose from. But for the most part, it works for the people who are looking for them. The grad application requirements, keep in mind, we've got priority app funding deadline in 2 days. This is just to push you guys to apply so that we can start processing and getting them in front of the faculty for review. It doesn't mean that if you miss that priority app, you don't get anything. That's not true. You have until the final deadline of January 12th. So we are trying to push people for that December 15th, and then we'll take that off and just promote the final deadline. So right now that is set for January 12th for the MPSA and MIA, and it's February 1st for the combined programs. On those requirements is a standard. It's an application and a fee, transcripts, which are unofficial at the time that you apply, 3 letters of rec, a resume, a personal statement. If you're in the MIA, it's also including your international experiences, travel, language, organizations, courses, things that inspire you internationally. And then you have to have a proof of English proficiency if you're an international student or meet it in some way. The GRE is optional in all these programs. We're only encouraging it for a couple of reasons. One, if you think that GPA needs a little boost, something to really strengthen your conviction that, hey, I am qualified for this, faculty take a chance on me, look what I've done on my scores, they're strong, then you probably need to do the GRE to help offset, especially if someone coming in with a below a 3.0, we put 3.2, but even a 3.0. Or if you're a really strong student and you know you test well, having a strong test score is only going to help you. So not as much does it go towards admission, but it does during that financial aid, because it is hard to pinpoint who to give the 1 or 3 full rides we may have without having something else to decipher these 3.8s and above. Who gets this full funding? Everybody looks good in their interviews and in their evaluations on their files. Having a GRE is just one more piece of the puzzle to maybe solidify in a faculty member's mind of, here, this guy has got something extra, and maybe this gives a reason for nominating them over someone else. Not everyone's going to do that. Not everyone who gets those full funding has a GRE. It's just another piece of the puzzle, like I said, to put in there. So up to you if you want to do a GRE. Now for the MIP, those that are doing the 1-year program, it has rolling admissions, so those deadlines change. The next one we have open is actually for the summer, which is a March 15th deadline. Same requirements with the exception that you only have to do 2 recommendations and you don't have to do the international experience essay. So the rest is all the same. For the process, we're pushing on that December 15th priority deadline for now. As soon as that date passes, we'll take that off, and then we're going to be promoting that mid-January to early February deadlines, which I just showed you is January 12th and then the February 1st. So the committee applications are going to start reviewing these in the month of January. We continue those in February as files get complete. And then we're interviewing everyone that we admit in February. So in doing that, we're committing to a day, that's a weekend, to try to set these up in February for interview conference weekends. So right now, it looks like the February 16th and 17th is the Master of Public Service. And that February 23rd and 24th is for international affairs. So if we can encourage people to come visit campus, interview in person, attend the different student panel, alumni panel, learning more about the organizations we have here, it's just a great way to get a feel of the place. But if you cannot come, definitely we're setting up Zoom interviews. So you will have an interview with one professor on one time and day, and maybe 30 minutes later, you'll have another interview. So I'll try to coordinate those with you on your availability with the faculty that are in your area of interest as best I can. So all that happens in February. Early March, those final application decisions are made. And by March 15th, you get an offer letter. With our offer letters also comes how much scholarship you are earning. And you will receive some level of scholarship if you are in the MIA or MPSA, not the MIP. So you'll get that emailed to you, and then we give you 1 month to make a decision. And this is a recognized national deadline by most large schools, April 15th, tax day. So you just have to make sure that you are submitting your decision by that time to accept or decline the offer. Now, MIP works a little differently because there's just fewer of them. So they do those within 7 to 10 business days because they don't have to do the interviews. But all this information is found on our website under the admissions section, and then just go to the degrees and then click on the program of interest. Now, if you're curious, what do recent students look like in their stats? The MPSA went down just a little bit. Last year it was a 3.66. So this is going to fluctuate between a 3.4 and a 3.7 most years. Average age for the MPSA was 25 this year. It was 59% female. Sometimes that's more like half and half. 25% were underrepresented groups, so it's a strong number. That's down a little bit between, I think it was on 36% in the last year or two. 16% international, 27% were non-residents. Tends to be a lot more Texas residents in this program. And work experience, again, we tend to enroll a lot of younger students. It's not set up with evening classes and working professionals. Mainly the students here are going full-time. So you'll see the differences for the work experience, but a lot of them are coming are fairly young. The MIA, it has a little bit higher GPA, right on par, kind of where they were last year too. Average age is a little bit younger, but again, that changes. I think 24 is usually the standard every year. 48% female, 30% underrepresented, 7% international. You notice the international percentage is not as high here. Primarily that's because a lot of students are looking for full funding and we don't have that. And so if they can't afford at least some of the tuition and fees, they just choose to not come. It was 40% non-resident. A lot of times that's going to be about 50-50 again. And then work experience, even younger, tended to be this year than in years past. Not sure why that was. But merit with your experience and fit do affect your scholarship level. So keep that in mind. And we're a small school, so we're enrolling about 80 to 90 students per department, which gives about, about less than about 200 per incoming class between our programs. And you're usually sitting in classes that average 16. Most of our classes max at that 20 to 25 students. Some of them may have grown a little bit bigger even just because of the way Texas A&M does class and how many seats we have in that classroom in order to hold it. But I think most are still holding between that 20 and 25. So you're going to be learning from both seasoned practitioners and these expert professors who might have gone out and done work for years on the Middle East, or who are specialists in local government because they were city managers, or who worked for the CIA and worked for USAID. So keep in mind, you're learning from a lot of different viewpoints and a lot of different skill sets, which just really makes your education very practical and ready to apply it. Now, funding and costs, scholarships in year one, 100% of our students who are full-time are going to receive something, and that's the MPSA and MIA. If you're from out of state, you also receive a non-resident waiver so that you're looking really at Texas rates. So we're going to cover that difference between it. Our scholarships, we're going to start with the highest level first and work our way down until basically we've run out of money. And we give hundreds of $1,000s over because we know some people are going to decline us. So we're doing our best guessing game, figuring out scholarships, how to give them. Most of our students are going to get either a $3,000 or a $5,000. You're very fortunate if you do get more than that. And you do have to have a competitive application to receive that. So 2/3 of our incoming students last year received a $3,000 or a $5,000. But we do give $10,000, we give $7,000, we give $15,000. MPSA even gave $20,000 last year. And then there are a couple of full rides. Those full rides are just hard to get, and they're nomination based by our faculty. who are going through the files and who are going through the interviews. So you can apply for those separately. In the summer, there is additional funding available for those that get an internship that's unpaid. And you get that by attending a number of different career webinars. And just by being there and learning more, you can then apply for some scholarship help if you get an unpaid internship, or if you're doing a language immersion and you need some help. In year 2, you will either renew that same funding amount from what you came in with, got to keep that GPA at a 3.25 or better, or you can give up that first year funding and you can apply for a GA position. And if you get it, you're now earning what that amount is, which those are closer to $20,000 a year. We just don't give those GA positions in year 1, which is what a lot of international students are looking for. So you have to be aware, you have to develop relationships with the faculty who are providing these assistantships in order to secure those. But you can really get a lot of your second year paid for if you can land one of those. Our estimated costs for tuition and fees here at Texas A&M, keep in mind, if you're coming in as a Texas resident, we cost about $13,500. As a non-resident, you're just over $26,000, but we're going to give you a non-resident waiver that's going to get you closer to that $13,500. Same thing with international students. Yours is a little bit higher because of the insurance you have to pay. But again, we're going to give you that waiver, so you're paying Texas resident rates. Now, if you're looking at $13,500 and you received a $10,000 scholarship, you're only responsible for paying $3,500 out of pocket. And then you'll have to cover all your living costs because we don't have anything towards that. So again, we encourage students to be applying for outside funding, look for other opportunities to help them pay. We're making this as cost efficient as we can. We do give scholarships to everyone in those MPSA and MIA, but we're not free. So students do have to have some help. So again, if you've got questions for this, just be sure that you drop those questions for me at the end. So I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to talk about professional development for a couple of slides. Just remind you that here at the Bush School, we have what are called leadership and writing programs. So Holly runs the leadership program and does Myers-Briggs assessments. They've got different strengths and colors. It's how to work with people who are different than you or who are just like you. And then you wrestle for control in a group project. So it's understanding how people learn and how to work with people who are different than yourself primarily, because a lot of work we do here is group work. And a lot of the work that you might do in your career path is group work. So it's really eye-opening to some students to learn these different styles if they've never been through it before. They are completely elective. And she also holds workshops that deal with time management and stress management because it is different here. When you come into that graduate level, there's a lot on your plate and a lot of expectation, and you got to manage some things with other students. So we try to provide you some opportunity to learn more about yourself in that way. The writing programs, we've got 2 staff writers here who are here to help you with your papers, who are help to go over those papers with reflections if you're coming back from an internship and writing a report on that. They work with the capstone projects so that you know how this final project should look and how to divvy out responsibilities. And they're here as a resource. And we totally enforce that whole ability. Please, as an elective opportunity, if you need the help, please go get it. Brenda and Cindy are both wonderful people and are willing and able to sit with you and help you become a better writer. Now, speakers and conferences, there's probably 2 to 3 speakers a week here, if not more, especially early in the fall when all the job talks are coming in. And then conferences, there's usually at least 2 major conferences in the fall, 1 or 2 in the spring. One of them has to do with women, peace, and security that I'm aware of. And another one has to do with pandemic. I've been doing that one for years, even before COVID had hit. And they're topical and they're insightful, and you've got a lot of great speakers for those kinds of opportunities. The library here at Texas A&M, the reason I put this on here is because a lot of students don't have to buy books. Many of them are just putting, the faculty are putting those interlibrary loans and documents where the students can check them out, or they're digitally. And so they don't have to pay for books every semester. Some of the classes do, because it depends on what you're being emphasized that semester, and some of them are great books where you're reading and learning, and you've got to have those to mark up and write in. But many of this extensive digital library collection just gives you access to everything. A&M is huge and has a ton of resources for that. International development and opportunities, we've got three things mainly to talk about. One is study abroad trips. There's usually at least one each year hosted by faculty. The one in Israel that was supposed to happen in May did not happen because obviously there's a lot of strife in that part of the world. But they had gone the year before, and it was set up as a spring study abroad. So students went to class each week. They did readings, they did papers, presentations, and they were researching the different terrorist sites across Israel. And then they visited those sites in Israel for a 2-week trip in May. And then they came back and reported out, and that was their final requirement for that class. But they've done similar things for Greece, Germany, Italy. So those kind of opportunities come up, and you just pay attention for them and then pay that extra fee for a study abroad trip. There are also a couple of reciprocal exchanges that we have when people primarily are working on language. Right now, I believe the ones that are still in play are South Korea, Wales, and Germany. They had them for China and a couple of other countries. I think they're reworking on which ones they're re-signing right now. Capstone travel, many times, depending on the topic for the capstone. This is field research or client presentations. You may be going to Mexico if you're working on a nonprofit that's based there, and do research and then come back and present that part out to your client. Others have been to, like I said, Greece and Latvia and several other countries. So those capstones, I didn't mention this earlier, but you have a say in which capstone you want to be part of. You're going to hear a list of faculty who are teaching the capstones, and they've gone out and found the client, and then you get to rank order your choice. And so you'll have some say-so in which one you have, and sometimes people choose it based on the travel. It's purely up to you. More of them probably pick the one that's in their wheelhouse. If they're a nonprofit, they stay with nonprofit. Security, they stay with security. But it's up to you. Doesn't have to be. You're learning skills and applying those skills no matter what the topic is. Now, I mentioned earlier the MIA has a language requirement. So you have to pass a spoken exam at intermediate low, that's conversational level, with ACTFL. Or if you had done one recently before you are enrolled here with the Bush School, then you would just coordinate that with our faculty member who runs that program, and he would say, okay, yeah, that'll work. I'll take that test in place of it. Otherwise, you'll have to do that sometime before the end of January before you graduate. If you do not pass it, then you are expected to pay for the test the second time, because we pay it for it the first, and you will need to pass it before you get your diploma. So the support, remember, you're not taking classes as part of your curriculum. The support here is free Rosetta Stone access, practice groups, tutors, language immersions. You guys have some support to get you to where you need to be. And a lot of that is those practice groups are practicing conversations in small group settings. So you'll have an opportunity to sign up for those. As far as things like research centers, there's 6 centers and institutes. You've got some opportunity sometimes to work on projects. They're also bringing in guest speakers. There's a lot of information sharing and networking involved with them. Specifically, for instance, like the Scowcroft Institute here does a lot of the international affairs speakers and opportunities. So wonderful, taking advantage of those that are housed just here in the Bush School. And then keep in mind, Texas A&M has at least 50 to 100 more of them across campus. So sometimes people will even get involved in ones that are not associated with the Bush Bowl. Student organizations, our students are very active here. So keep in mind, because a lot of our students do come from liberal arts programs, they may have been heavily involved with their student governments in undergrad, and they'll continue that. And under our student government, we have a number of different committees. So you've got an opportunity to get involved with the tailgates. And if you're not sure what that is, that's us getting together. A lot of students do buy sports passes here, and they will pull all their tickets together, and then they'll get representatives to go out and stand in line and pull those football tickets so that our students can sit together and yell for the football team on that Saturday. And that tailgate, they'll have a tailgate before and after the game that you can just socialize and have great food and drinks and so forth. There's also, graduation committee and social and traditions. They usually have a mistletoe and martinis kind of thing in December, and then they have another formal event in the spring. They've got all kinds of just fun activities to break up the school, right? Things to get to know each other and get involved. The public service organization is also a very popular one where students get involved in the community. So they have group leaders who go out and say, I'm going to run the one for Habitat, and I need volunteers to help me on that certain day. And so that student will go out for that public service organization event. I like to get involved in one called Read by Third, which is more of a education one. There's also one with Paint USA, where we go out to schools and paint a map of the US with all the different states and different colors for elementary schools in town. So there's just all kinds of activities to be able to get back involved in the campus in this community. We love that. There's also International City County Management Association, fundraising professionals for the nonprofits, foreign language and cultural. Ambassadors Council are the ones who wear the blue jackets with the Bush logo, and they help with the donors, they help with guest speakers, help give out the brochures during those events, seating, those kinds of things. And we even have intramurals in athletics because we have a lot of students who just want to blow off steam and go out and do kickball and indoor soccer, and we've got softball coming in the spring. There's all kinds of activities to get you a place to find home here, a place where others who are like-minded want to come in and do some sports and activities or go out and serve the community. As far as career service numbers, we've got this advising and professional development. There are 3 people in our career services office. One primarily handles employer relations. So he is constantly developing an opportunity for those company reps to come in to the Bush Bowl or to set up Zoom kind of interviews and opportunities. And he's also helping our students make those connections. He talks with them about their cover letters. Another one is running the workshops. So Ashley may be doing more with helping you with your LinkedIn profile, or here's how to negotiate for salary. Here's writing an effective cover letter. And again, if you attend a number of those workshops, you can then apply for some internship funding if you get one that's unpaid. Matt is the one who normally helps me on these events, and he's the one who does a lot more with the alumni relations, a lot more of the oversight of student affairs here, works with the different student groups, with individuals one-on-one with certain situations. But they do a bang-up job. Employment rates usually are somewhere around that 90 to 99% each year. The reason it sometimes is in the 80% is because if you keep in mind national security clearances, and we do not count those employment offers until they are in that position. And sometimes those clearances take more than 6 months. So our employment rates are reported out at 6 months. So we're just showing you here kind of what those sectors look like. Notice that federal and government contractor for the MIA looks a little different than an MPSA student. Because mainly the MIA, International Affairs, they're heading towards federal government. They're looking at all the different agencies in Washington, D.C. So I'm not going to read off these numbers here, but you can get a snapshot of what these look like. This is from 2022. We are currently working on the 2023. We'll have that published in February. We're giving them that 6-month window. I know Matt is using his December to right now follow up with people and ask if they need more help. Getting them more connections, putting them in touch with our alumni, and just generally finding out where everyone is and what they're doing and how we can help them. So strong element with career services for sure. And that does include even very competitive fields like foreign service. We do have an ambassador here who can help with our students in making those connections and preparing for their exam and all the other good stuff. Okay, final part with this, career sectors and some samples. So you'll notice that I've got these by those same sectors. Federal government includes all those different alphabet soup agencies. It does include departments of commerce, defense, state, justice, the U.S. Government Accountability Office, Naval Investigative Services. It just runs the gamut. State and local, you'll see a lot that are here in Texas, but that doesn't mean all of them are. You do have someone who went back to Wyoming, another one who works for the state of Utah, a Maryland Department of Legislative Services, in New York, Virginia. It just, I can only put some sample up here, so they tend to be more Texas related. Nonprofits, same thing. People can find a lot of great jobs out there in nonprofits, whether it be fundraising, whether it be managing them, whether it be working with volunteers. There is no shortage of need for great people going into nonprofits. And then I've just included some of the private industry as well. This is always. Now, we promote ourselves and highlight ourselves as a unique aspect of the Bush Bowl is that we are public service minded. So, 70 to 75% or more of our students tend to go into public service, but there are some, they're geared towards private, and that's okay. We're not going to look down on you for doing that. It's just a different career path than what most of our students do, but many do that. All right, now having said that, I'm going to wrap this up. Just to remind you that you can find all of our information on the Bush Bowl website. You can get a hold of us here in this College Station. That's Catherine with me and Ashley. Now that's Ashley Treadway, who works with me through the application process. And if you just email me bushbowladmissions@tamu.edu, or you call that number, one of the two of us will answer those. If you found that, you know what, maybe I want the online program, then you need to get a hold of the Office of Extended Education for the certificates. Or if you're looking more at Washington, D.C., then you can reach out to the DC location and their staff because they run applications a little differently. And then I'm just going to remind you why the Bush Bowl. There's passionate faculty. There are specialized concentrations that help you build what you want. Collaborative environment, really strong peer cohorts. These students, 10 years down the line, they're still in touch with their same colleagues because you get to know each other really well here. Consulting projects with industry leaders, professional internships, or you can do the language immersion. Research university, Texas A&M is huge, vast resources, vast connections, especially when you think about the Aggie network. We've got over 500,000 alumni, and they're all over the world. So we tap into that as best we can all the time. It's a best value as a public university, speaker events and conferences, career faculty advising, excellent employment rates, and we're affordable. It all comes down to not having to incur $100,000 in debt to afford to go to grad school. So we'll help you all we can. All right, now having said that, I'm going to now turn off the recording. Thank you guys so much for being here. And if you do have some questions, I'm going to let you unmute in just a few minutes. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. And let me stop recording.